Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishwaro Guratmeti Mochibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om Shanti, 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 Om Namaste. We're gonna dive again. Now, hopefully deeply into the nature of Upasana, in the nature of meditation, dhyana or nididhyasana, no? Because we need to make it something with practical utility, value, not just informational knowledge. We have seen that the last class, the verse 24, having completely given up all desires born out of fantasies, one should restrain the group of the sense organs from all directions. And how so? By the mind. So it's the mind that has to do this job. Why? Because the mind should be there keeping the 5 channels of contact with the different objects of perception. The mind should be the, how you say, the master. In our orchestra, there is what? How you say that?
The conductor.
The conductor. The mind has to be the conductor. You know, is the master conductor, is the one who is going to be saying, no, 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 I don't want to go there. Why so? Because it's unnecessary. Why so? Because now I want to just enjoy a moment of peace, not think of the problems I have to deal with tomorrow. And now, because now I want to sit and do some nididhyasana or upasana, so therefore, so the mind should be in the position of being a master. It should never be kidnapped by the sense organs, you know, and be kept hostage. Because the mind, a lot of the cases, they are hostage to the sense organ. The sense organs, they become dictators, isn't it? They say, "Pa, I want this, I want this, I want that." And the mind, oh, say, okay, let's go there. I want to see you happy. If you are happy, I'm happy as well. But it's not really that way. The mind is, you know, is the instrument that's going to experience sukhan and dukkha, pleasures, happiness, satisfactions, or otherwise. So everything depends on the mind. Discipline is an integral part of the process, the development process presented by Vedanta. So therefore, what is the practice of this meditation? And then just a reminder, Jesus, he's recapping these instructions on dhyana, which is very important for us to remember. Any of you doing dhyana, so we're going to have the opportunity to look back here and see in which way we can improve our practice of meditation in a way that I'm not only going to keep my mind focused on a conceptual object that produces comfort, for example, but I want to keep my mind on something which does not produce comfort, but it's the very nature of peace and comfort. So which the nature of the I, the nature of the hum, the nature of the self. And how we're going to do that? It's a very old thing. We heard about that 50 years ago when we were children. spiritual kids, oh, you have to go and say, no, not this, but not this, why? No, I'm fussy. No, it's not because I'm fussy, because I want to know who I am. I understood that if I really identify and hope and know clearly what I am, I heard that what I am is the very source of peace, satisfaction, and limitlessness. And then I need to find out by excluding everything that appears before me. So, and how I do that with the mind, by the mind. The mind is going to do this process, which in simple language is net, but in the language of Vedanta is something much more complex, beautiful, elegant, sophisticated, in which you refuse identify yourself with any possible object of experience, even the most subtle of all of them, beginning with the most dense, which is the body-mind who is sitting to meditate. You have to keep in mind, so this body-mind is an Atma, it's just matter, subtle. It's gross matter moved by subtle matter. And then you go through all the koshas, I say, no, none of the boy, because I'm the seer, I'm the experiencer, I'm the knower. Even the intellect, yes, I know the condition of my intellect. And then once you understand that this is the process, you begin moving into a kind of dhyana, which is the most subtle, because the object of knowledge is the more subtle. The object of contemplation, meditation is the most subtle. But it's better you move to contemplate on the most subtle, because if you succeed there, and then you find a comfort which is going to follow you all through your life. Otherwise, you're going to use some other objects that produce a certain kind of defect comforts, but they fade the moment that you are not holding the mind on those objects. But if you hold the mind on its very nature, and then there is a moment of ha, in which that my nature is that which is with me at all times. I can never lose it. No, it's the essence of my conscious existence. And now I understood it. And now I don't need to practice meditation anymore. How about that? I don't need to practice meditation. Oh, what a release. Huh? So why? Because now I got to a point that I experienced comfort, peace, and satisfaction, because I identified that as inherent to my very true nature, the essence of my existence as consciousness. It's very simple, but we need to take that road, you understand? We need to go for it, rather than being meditating on trying to control my experience and having a state which offers some more consolation or comfort, something that must happen in the future, a transcendental experience, or moving in a different dimension in the future. So those conceptual objects at the most may pacify the mind, but temporarily. You understand? So what shall we be doing during meditation? And then he reminds us here of the three stages of taking the mind from the samsara thoughts that comes from the causal body, and then make an effort of keep it on the scriptures that reveal the self. But it's not easy at the beginning, because the mind is full of latent impressions that, again and again comes and say, you Vedantic thoughts, get out of here. This is my place. This is my world. And then the dharana level is that stage in which you have to really push back those ignorant based thoughts in regards to samsara. And then dhyana is when you begin stay in that flow of thoughts without having to fight. I remember very well, I did not have any good. In the beginning, it was almost impossible. I say, what a project is this one? What an endeavor is this one? I have to sit there for 30, 20, 40 minutes. And then sometimes I experience a few moments of dhyana, in which, now I'm holding on to a sense of peace and silence and satisfaction, you know? Now, okay. Oh, I had to work so hard fighting with all the other notions and concepts for quite some time. So, but if you really push it, with persistence, consistency, and then it comes a time that dhyana begins more and more uh, not as a battle, no? So you have defeated those vasanas, you have developed some dhyana vasanas, no? And then it's easy to hold the mind there on the scriptures. And then samadhi is when you are there even during transaction, not having the need for efforting, no? So this we have seen. We have to turn away from those samsaric thoughts. And samsaric thoughts, Swami reminds us that most of the time they involve trying to control one's experience. How so? I go into my files, remembering the past, and then I say, so what are the circumstances that brings about pleasurable experience, pleasurable experience? And then I try to reproduce those circumstances. And then I go there, there are circumstances that have brought a mess, a lot of conflict and pain. So no, and then I have to avoid. And then go again and again, remembering the past and projecting a future in which you avoid unfavorable experience and attract good experience. Punya has to be abandoned as well, because that does not work. Does not work. We can never control the field, the Dharma field. It's impossible to control, because the factors, the overall factors, which is referred to as Daivan, another name for Ishvara, is something changing all the time. If I do that, I will be suffering frustration, irritation, anger, because it's impossible to control your experience. And we don't want to waste our time doing so. And then someone says, Swamiji, I would love to be able, but when I sit in meditation, I am attacked by all kinds of worldly thoughts. Many concerns, fears, desires. And then he says, remember that Krishna said in the chapter 2 that you need to leave behind all those thoughts, at least during the meditation. Similarly, samsara is going to build up anger. Anger is going to make it impossible for the mind to dwell on its very nature as Satchitananda Brahman. Samsara is a set of a list of unpleasant emotions, among them jealous, competition, anger, frustration, irritation, depression. Depression is more common to the tamasic people, and irritation to the rajasic people. We need to find a way to divert the mind from those thoughts, but when the mind is overcrowded with those impressions, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But if you really look into this teaching and you see, it's the only way out. Why not to begin from wherever we are? You understand? It's the only solution is to address the problem. This is called purification of the mind, refinement of the mind, and it requires tremendous effort until it becomes more like effortless. And if the mind is not fit for Vipassana, we know it's better we engage society, we do things, we engage the world, and we train the mind to engage it from a dharmic standpoint, point of view, not just by willpower, but understanding if I violate the laws, the Dharma, I'm going to suffer. Nobody likes to suffer, and then I need to train myself not to violate Dharma and live in harmony with people and things around me. And that brings us to the 25th verse. One should withdraw the mind gradually by the intellect. We should begin today here, or I don't remember. Or I'm repeating everything again. No. One should withdraw the mind gradually by the intellect, which is endowed with willpower. Yeah, I'm never going to give up. And then willpower should be in alliance with logic, with understanding, knowledge. Having made the mind abide in the self, one should not think of anything else, at least for those 30 minutes, because once you suspend your meditation session, the mind is going to change. I did not know all of that. I was very frustrated when I had to go to my restaurant and the mind would change and I would not be having those wonderful feelings of samadhi, No. For the time being, you keep the mind there. Howsoever you can do it from the angle of jnana knowledge or from even the experiential level, it's okay. If you know that the experience has a certain power to further purify the mind, and sooner or later you're gonna be unsatisfied with temporary experience of pacification, mental peace. If it is temporary, sooner or later you're gonna say, no, it's okay, it was a good stage, and it gave me a flavor, a taste of what it is to live with a pacified mind. But I cannot live in meditation all day long. I need to run my business, my house. I have roles to play. And then the person starts saying, there must be another solution which does not involve withdrawing from society. There must be another solution. Solution for what? For not forgetting my true nature, the remembrance, the abidance in the remembrance, the knowledge of my true nature pacifies the mind. The remembrancing and the abiding in the true nature of Saguna Brahman as pure knowledge, intelligence, does pacify my mind. Is the first stage. I understood this relationship, and then my mind is at peace. Now I understood the Lord. I'm not going to mess up with the Lord. I'm not going to challenge the Lord. The Lord does so much to me. It's keeping this food body alive, giving me the opportunity to experience duality until I graduate from this school. This samsara, this maya school, this vyavaharika. So the mind is there for a period of time, abiding in the teachings that reveal my through nature. It feels good, it feels complete, it feels satisfying, it feels peaceful, no? And I want to be there. So, and if I have the opportunity, if there are no intruders, no intruding thoughts, violent thoughts that somehow manage to make me stand up and go back to action, into action. So I stay there for as long as I can. Why not? Huh? Knowing that that is not my final destination, but if I can stay abiding the teachings of Vedanta, the nature produce a state of pacification, a state of peace, huh? Of satisfaction, happiness. So why not? Stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there. If you don't have anything better to do or necessary to be done. Hmm? Therefore, you should not think of anything else. Stay there unless it's really necessary to invite other thoughts by engaging your environment. But the most fundamental thing here, the most important aspect of this verse 25 is that Krishna says, and this should be done gradually. This should be done gradually. This has to be explained, and we all should understand that. Otherwise, we run into frustration. We need to understand why it has to be done gradually, because the mind has to be purified in order to become more and more subtle, so that it can contemplate on those notions that refer to the more subtle aspect of the Aham, which is limitless, infinite consciousness. So the mind has to be very subtle, very refined, yeah, to be able to contemplate and enjoy the fragrance of one's Ananda nature. The purpose is not just to drink the nectar of that Ananda nature, but in that state in which you enjoy your Ananda nature, you maintain the mind active. Okay, let's go even more subtler. So what does that mean? That I am experiencing a reflection of my own self, which produces such a feeling, sense of peace and satisfaction and dispassion. So what is this? How come? So can I just remain there even while doing my transactions? Is there a way I can have this knowledge so well established that even while my interaction with the world, I'm still enjoying this sense of peace and fullness and satisfaction? So you keep inquiring, and then the mind is going to develop more subtlety, because you're inquiring in more and more subtle investigations in respect to the nature of consciousness, the nature of the Ananda you experience, So it has to be done gradually. If we believe that this is easy and simple and something to be done overnight, we're going to be frustrated. Then we're going to say Vedanta does not work. And this is only a very, very abstract philosophy. There is only mind. At the most, there is the mind. And then the rest is the world of objects. I either focus on the world or I focus on the mind. I think that the self is the mind, therefore I try to improve the mind. And that's not bad, to improve the mind, but it's not going to solve the problem. It's going to help the mind to be a little more subtle, to enter the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Understand? Krishna says to do it gradually. See, if you cannot do it suddenly, oh no, I go to the Atma. First of all, there is no way you go to the Atma because you are the Atma. And then you say, okay, and then I abiding in the sensation of the Atma, which is a sort of samadhi, which is experience a quiet mind that somehow brings about a fragrance of great peace, difficult to be understood by the human intellect, the peace that passes all understanding. So how am I going to go? Yeah, you can go to that more like experientially, or you can go there just using the yanam, remembering the teachings. If you go there by looking for a peaceful mind with the help of all your background as a good Kama Yoga, and then with your background of a good Vedantin, in which by which you got the knowledge that you are the ultimate seer, subject, or experiencer. And then you have the knowledge, you keep remembering the knowledge, and that as well is going to bring a peace, a sense of peace. Or you focus on just refuting every other thought until you experience silence. And in that silence, you're going to experience very amazing peace, beautiful satisfaction. Then you have to say, not this, I'm sorry, but not even this, okay? This peace is just an object of experience, and I am the seer. I am the witnessing consciousness, witnessing this peace and satisfaction. So this is where the mind has to become even more subtle than the subtlety of mind we need to go into the Anandamaya Kosha and experience this peace and satisfaction derived of a very, very contemplative, sattvic state of mind. So you have to go even farther. You say, I'm sorry, I love you. I love this experience of Ananda, but I'm interested in the self. You, again, a very beautiful object, very seducing, very wonderful. I could marry you. I could live with you, but I know that one day you're going to leave me. Everything that comes goes. So the mind has become very subtle as we go on in simple language. Say, no, not this. I am the light that illumines and reveals every and all objects of experience, such as beautiful contemplative states of mind. So if we have the mind is still very impure, used to be overcrowded with worldly thoughts, it becomes impossible to bring the mind to the subtlest Atma, Ananda Atma. And then he presents analogies. So you live in the ground floor, and above there is a first floor. So how are you going to go from the ground floor to the first floor? So you have to go through many steps. The staircase, the stair is going to take steps that you cannot jump from the ground floor to first floor because there is 3 meters or more above. Now, you have to make gradual steps until you get to this subtler mind, which is going to have access to the subtler aspect of this spiritual process. To enter in that kind of nididhyasana or even upasana, the mind has to be subtle. There is a custom there that says, okay, show me your mind. Oh, not subtle enough. I'm sorry, go back. You understand? Because you have to be subtle. I don't like this thing of having to develop purity and qualifications. No, it should be free because I'm a communist. I believe, so everybody should be equally accepted anywhere. I say, no, I'm sorry. Communism does not exist in reality. Here, it's all about merits. Okay? This is a meritocratic projection in which everybody has to work for entry here. From the grossest to the subtlest. Right? Nothing of this world is me, nothing in this world belongs to me. And then he goes explaining another angle of this contemplation, say, so I'm looking for me, and let's look from this up. I'm looking for me, myself. And then anything that I encounter as objects of experience, even the more subtle until the very grossest, such as my physical body, I see that according to Vedanta, these things are not me. Why? Because I cannot be the seer and the seeing. If I see it, if I experience the body, I have an objective view of the physical body. I have an objective view of the subtle body. It cannot be me because I cannot be the seer and the seeing. I cannot be the drig and the drisha. I have to define myself. You'll say I'm the seer. So if I am the seer, anything that is seen by me does not belong to me. Why? I did not produce any of that. I did not create this body. How can I say that I own this body, for example? It does not belong to me. In very many different sense, it does not belong to me. Therefore, I don't create attachment to anything, to people, things, events, circumstance. Everything is an appearance within me. And so I don't develop attachment. But everything appears before my conscious existence, and it seems to have a purpose, a utilitarian purpose. Why? Because I may use, and the scriptures, the Vedantic scriptures, is the same thing. It has a certain utilitarian value, use. It's giving me for my use, and I want to use it wisely. Just like anything else, I have a computer and I need to know how to use in a way that can benefit me. But I have no doubt that this is not me, this computer. No? I am the seer. This is an instrument such as a pair of glasses. No? Everything is present to us for temporarily use. And the scriptures are present to us temporarily for spiritual growth, inner growth. Therefore, I don't get attached to anything. I don't claim anything to be mine. I don't allow my mind to dwell on any sort of object, not even the most seductive one, Ananda Maya kosha state, samadhi. Ananda Maya samadhi. I don't allow my mind to develop the sense of I and mine to the extent that I say to my partner, I am yours and you are mine. It's very common among couples, huh? It's okay. It's good to have a relationship. But remember, your partner is not yours. You don't belong to anybody. We are only fundamentally relate to what? To our intrinsic true nature as Brahman, as Paramatma, our conscious existence of non-dual nature. That's the only relationship. That's the only association we have. But since it's association with our very nature, it's not association because we are a sangha free from association because there is only us. So remembering the teachings over and over again requires a mind that's not attached to things, identifying to see things, and and drawing or developing a sense of identity from these relationships with things that are not even yours. They all belong to Ishvara, at the most we can say. So you have to remember the Lord, remember the teachings. The moment that you do that, attachments disappear and you're going to relax, because attachments create tension. Attachment creates tension, and then you relax, and then you can meditate. How so? Meditating on the teachings that helps us to detach from Atma and remain abiding in our true fundamental intrinsic nature, which produce a fragrance of peace and satisfaction. Therefore, withdraw from the external world, then come to the body, then you claim, okay, they are not mine. This is the meditation that some of our gurus, Paramarthananda, Dayananda, I don't know, Shimaya, I know that James used to present this concept. You begin doing this viveka, discriminating from some parts of the body. It can be done in a very profound way or more superficial way. You start to just putting your awareness on different parts of your body, and then you establish very clear. So it's not me. This body is not mine, and so on. And then you bring it to the pranas, and then you bring to the mind, you bring to the intellect, and then you bring to the Anandamaya, and you just dismiss everything as anathema. The way you withdraw from all 5 aspects of this anathema koshas, anamaya, anamaya to pranamaya, from pranamaya to manomaya, from manomaya to vyanamaya, and then to anandamaya. Suddenly you cannot come to consciousness. From the mind to consciousness, from anandamaya to consciousness. The body is gross, the mind is subtle. Now you need to do a jump from the mind to consciousness. Suddenly you come to consciousness, turn your attention to the body. Then come to your mind, and then in the mind, when you watch, you will see only thoughts. You will be bothered by the thoughts. Then from that next jump, the jump is to the subtlest jump. I'm jumping, I'm not the thoughts or the mind, I am limitless, free and independent consciousness. This is the ultimate viveka. I'm the witness consciousness, and I'm seeing all the different aspects we experience as human beings. This is the subtlest final jump. Therefore, Krishna says you have to do it very gradually. Without Jack is jumping. Without jerk means jumping. You have to do very gradually without jumping. Otherwise, it's going to feel fake. It's going to feel fake. And then you're going to hear fake it until you make it. And then you keep faking. But it's not really that. You cannot fake until you make. You accept it and then inquire until you really understand it. And then there is no place for faking anymore. You just trust it until it becomes a fact. what kind of intellect you need, which has got the willpower to sustain this journey. So what kind of intellect is this? Huh? Intellect that never gives up. You need that kind of strength. Otherwise, when you come to the body, you may suddenly get lost in the body, because everybody has a certain fascination to the physical body. Oh my God, I have to go to my chiropractor. There is some pain here. My digestion is not so good. And so on. And then you're going to think of the doctor. You're going to be concerned that you may not live for 100 years. Therefore, you have to be very alert not to allow these thoughts in regards to the physical body to crowd your mind. Never allow the mind to be lost in those bodily thoughts. We should be able to own up myself, finally enough, as the witnessing consciousness of all thoughts of all 5 levels. All thoughts of all 5 koshas. Then what I do? Then once you come to the self, the Atma, the journey is over. Once the mind has come to the Atma, let the mind dwell on the Atma. The mind was prepared, was made more and more subtle so that it can dwell on that which is the most subtle aspect of our existence as a human being. Now the mind is able to dwell on the Atma. And it does so by remembering the teachings that reveal all the features or the natures in respect to this Atma. You cannot really dwell in the Atma because the mind, the Atma has no real attributes or qualities, but it has a feel to it. And then you're going to dwell on the teachings. That's the truth. You're going to dwell on the teachings until you enjoy the fruits of that dwelling on the teachings. And dwelling on the teachings and dwelling on the features of the teachings, revealing the art, the feature or the nature of this most subtle aspect of the Atma. So all this nididhyasana has to be done by dwelling on the teachings, or if you want to take the experiential paths, you're going to dwell on those sense feeling, aham, which is pacified somehow due to willpower to the point that you feel great satisfaction that fades after a while. So that's the experiential path. The viveka, the jnana path, you're going to dwell on the teachings that again and again is revealing to you the nature or the features of what you are. And then you can go and the mind, the teaching should be alive in your mind for you to do nididhyasana, you understand? Otherwise, you go and you do shravana and manana. But there is as well an element of nididhyasana there. It's just that nididhyasana cannot be done yet without me having the text or the audios or anything before me, because I tend to forget the teachings. So if that's the case, and then you can do shravana and manana, because there are elements of nididhyasana there as well, because you are applying the teachings with the help of the words of the scriptures, verbally or printed in paper or in the computer screen. And then he gives some examples. I am formless consciousness. I am something other than the body. I pervert the 5 koshas. Anything that appears within me is an object superimposed by the power of Maya Shakti. I am the light, I illumine and reveal everything. I accommodate everything as space without ever being affected by the things I accommodate. I don't have any will, I'm not moved by karma. Somehow Maya projects all the entire universe, which is governed by many laws, including the most fundamental for the human jivas, the laws of karma. All of that is being projected upon me, but I'm free and independent. I don't do anything because I'm the most lazy Brahman. And nothing touches me, nothing contaminates my purity. What is purity? There is nothing other than I, myself. This is the most pure, this is the definition of purity, and there's nothing other but consciousness, existence. Okay, let me see here. So these teachings should be alive in my mind. I should have learned all those features or natures or aspects of the teaching so that I can just stay in that state. Yeah, very subtly remembering that these features of myself. But you cannot do Nididhyasana without knowing the teaching. So Nididhyasana is impossible without Shravana, because the first thing is to get the knowledge through Shravana. Yeah? It's impossible without attending the classes, and it's almost impossible without the help of a guru. It's almost impossible to succeed, and you cannot do the Vedantic meditation without having gained the knowledge first. Therefore, you need to attend to the class, and with the help of a guru, you should have heard all the teachings. You should have cleared the doubts. You should have understood everything. You should know the meaning of your Nirguna Atma so clearly, your Satya nature, your Sangha nature, Niranjana nature, Suddha, Nirvikara, all these concepts have to be so clear. They are pointing, they are helping you to understand what you are. Ultimately, you will have to abandon all of those concepts as well. Then you take any one word and dwell upon these pointers or teachings until you come to the final declarations of identity, such as Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Sangha Chaitanyasmi. Therefore, Manaha Atma Stam, this one I don't know. So no, the question is how to do that. Let me share you something interesting. A student of mine from Brazil, and he tried to join us again lately. I can tell his name is Ronaldo. He has some good knowledge, but he has confusion. And not always he has a good attitude in relation to his guru, because he does not want to clarify his doubts, but he wants to discuss with the guru. So this is my knowledge, this is my understanding, let's have a discussion here, you understand? This is not the proper attitude, because the guru does not have a teaching. The guru is just unfolding the scriptural knowledge. If the student does not really agree, it means that it should continue to contemplate. And then if he has some more doubts, and then should present its doubts with a certain attitude to the guru, but always think like, no, I haven't got it yet, therefore please try to help me to understand what you are saying, because I know you are saying what the scriptures say. So rather than try to debate or confront the teachings that do not belong to the teacher to begin with. And he has been trying to talk to me since a while because of certain things. And without mentioning his name in the Brazilian group, I say things that refers to him, and he knows that. And then he gets sometimes excited and he wants to discuss with me, but I don't accept any discussion with my student if it comes from that kind of angle or attitude. Yesterday, he caught me when I was going to Rio de Janeiro in the car, and he was really want to have a conversation. And then I say, I cannot, I'm driving with my brother, and it's not appropriate. And he was trying that since a week. And I say, and I'm not inclined to have discussions with my students. I prefer that the students continue to studying the classes. And then if the doubts persist, present it to me as a question doubt, but I don't do discussion. Vedanta teacher never discuss with the student. It can really only try to clarify some doubts. And it was not really entering him what I'm saying. He was saying, no, because I don't agree with this. And then he said something very revealing. He said, no, because we can know you can be self-realized and this and that, but you will never know the truth. I mean, what do you mean? You're never going to know really what you are. You can have self-realization, but you'll never know what you are. Né? And then right there, I say, you see that your knowledge needs some work. There is confusion here. You're saying that you have self-knowledge, but you never know really what it is. You understand? Because you are still believing that what you are has some qualities, properties, attributes, so that you know what the self is. The self does not have any attribute. It is your very conscious existence, free of attributes, properties, qualities, that you could say, now I know what the self is. So he was still stuck, superimposed, Mitra and Satya, and challenging the scripture, saying that you can never say anything because you don't know what you are. How you do not know? The entire teaching of Vedanta is to present to the student what one is so that one can finally relax and enjoy. But if in the background of the mind, one is still trying to find a definition which is based on qualities, attributes, and properties, one goes into this confusion because the only thing you don't know. And then when you see you are on those lines that the only thing that you can say is I don't know or I am nothing. Isn't it, Mark? And then I don't know, I'm nothing because I don't know anything. How you don't know? The whole process here is self-knowing, self-knowledge. But you see, the person may appear to be having this knowledge, but there is still some ignorance there. And all of this begins because some people, they have an approach which is more philosophical and then remains confused and never develops what is said to be devotion to Saguna Ishwara, which is the most difficult thing for him. He does not buy in this thing of devotion at all because, the Ishwara is just an appearance. It's not real, and this and that. I am Brahman. I say, you have to be very careful with this concept because who is going to have devotion to the Lord? It's not Nirguna Atma, it's Saguna Atma. It's your Saguna Atma that needs to get a feeling of great appreciation to the opportunity, the reverence and love and devotion to that which is the principle that created your Saguna Jiva Atma. So it's doing everything for us every moment of our day. So, but why I'm saying that? You need to because you should understand all these features or natures of consciousness until you understand that you are nirguna. Nirguna means no attributes. There is nothing that could make you an object of knowledge. And this friend of mine was saying, you'll never know. But the scripture says to begin with, you are not an object of knowledge. You never will know objectively, because for that you need something that is colored by the gunas. And then you know the feature of that thing. But Brahman is not an object of knowledge, not an object of experience. Isn't it, Lynn?
The thing is, sorry to interrupt, but the thing is, if it was an object of experience, we'd know it.
If it was an object of experience, we would know it. Everybody would know it, right?
Yeah.
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 So not being an object of experience is where the confusion and where the ignorance comes in.
Yeah. Because it's not, you don't accept another pramana, another means of knowledge, which is not perception through the five senses and the mind and the inference made by the intellect. If it's not available through this body-mind complex, you say that it's impossible to know. But it's not. In fact, it's the only thing that's possible to know. The only thing that you can really know for sure is to know that you are conscious existence of non-dual nature. It's the only knowledge that's not subject to error. Will never require revision and correction. All other knowledge, which are knowledge of perceived objects, you're going to have to revise, because everything around us change all the time. And our scientific power to know things, power to know scientific phenomena is very limited. Now the question is, how are you going to do this job? You do it with your own very mind. Oh, my mind has to do this, but I don't trust my mind. Now, this is the advice here. Your mind has to somehow find a way to withdraw from the anathema world. Now, this one of the previous verses was saying this obsession with the anathema objects of this world, gross, dense, and subtle world. And it should abide on its very true fundamental nature. We call it the self, the Atma. So bring the mind to the Atma, but there is no distance between the Atma and the mind. Why? Because the Atma is the substratum of the mind. But in truth, there is only the substratum, and the mind is just a very, very intriguing phenomenal objects superimposed upon consciousness. Is this reflection of consciousness. So how are you going to keep the mind on the Atma, the Atma being the very true nature of the mind? So remain in the Atma. You have to make an effort to associate and contemplate, meditate Jesus Nididhyasana or Manana on the teachings of the Upanishads until it is properly understood. And then you remain in the Atma. No, I just now understood. Atma, the self, this consciousness is my very nature. And I don't forget it anymore. You want to meditate? Okay, that's the most simple thing. Why? I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to think of anything other than what I'm thinking, because this is my very intrinsic nature. Wherever I sit, I close my eyes, I don't need to think about any Atma object. And then what is left there? The Atma, my conscious existence shining. And it may even accept other thoughts because I know that the other thoughts depend on my light of consciousness illumining and revealing other thoughts. That's why the Yan is not concerned about having and keeping a sattvic mind all the times, because even a rajasic mind is going to produce a lot of thoughts and Atma thoughts. But once you understood that they exist, that they somehow they borrow a sense of existence by you, consciousness, original consciousness that somehow revealed the reflected consciousness. Reflected consciousness is seen by the original consciousness, which is pervading the substratum of the reflected consciousness, the so-called mind. So here, Krishna is repeating, reiterating all the same points and concepts so that we can improve our upasana, we can improve our effort to go for it more directly and less indirectly. Remain in the mind, in the Atma. You don't need to go anywhere, sit anywhere. And then he gives the example, he gets a paper clip and say the paper clip can be on the desk, can be on the floor, can be anywhere. So going to the clip involves a process of action, involves time and space to bring the clip back to the desk from the floor, for example. Action is involved. But the Atma being this very, very substratum of the self, there are no actions involved so that you can abide in the Atma. Atma is not somewhere there and that you say, oh, come here, Atma, come on, I want to abide with you. Yeah, come here. Okay, stay with me here. No. Atma is your very nature. All you have to do is educate the mind. It's a process of education. Educate the mind to say, oh, it's useless you keep running back to the Atma world of object because they don't make anybody help. They don't help and they don't make anybody really happy. You need to withdraw from the Atma and then see what happens. And then if you don't have the complete teaching, you're going to experience samadhi. And then you're going to have to go through the stage that you believe that the Atma is this state of samadhi. And then you have to further inquire and say, no, the Atma cannot be a state because a state has a beginning, middle, and end. So remaining in the Atma is remaining as the light of consciousness that illumines and reveals all states. The Atma is not anywhere away from us. There is no question of action involved, time, space. My mind is never away from the Atma, because the Atma is my true nature. I have to do this with my mind, but it's not that I have to take my mind and bring it to the Atma. No, Atma is the very nature of the mind, but the mind is running to the objects under the mistaken notion that the objects are going to resolve the problem. And then you have to train the mind, educate the mind, say, no, there's no point to run there. There's nothing there. There is no true happiness. You have to stop allowing the mind there. And then when you stop going there, and if it comes a state of samadhi, know that it's not even that. You are the conscious existence in which the state of resting in one's peaceful nature, silent nature, takes place in opposition to the state of engagement with anathema thoughts that produce all kinds of emotions and sensations. The mind is the Atma. So now what I'm going to do is this mind. I just stop running to the anathema and I enjoy a certain degree of peace. And then in that peace, in that kind of state, I remember the mind is not just this state. The mind is consciousness. In a contemplative state, I have this wonderful feeling of ananda. Well, but these two will pass. This is the experiential ananda, which is the different from the jnana ananda. The jnana ananda is more in the lines of a feeling of satisfaction and confidence that you are totally free from the mind and the world experienced by the mind. Therefore, placing the mind on Atma is nothing but entertaining the Vedantic thoughts which are feature centered around the features of yourself as the Atma. Okie dokie. So let me tell you, I will be leaving back to Goiás, or to my place there, Sunday or Monday. I will buy a bus ticket today, still today, and the moment I know the day I travel, I will let you know. We will have only one class in the beginning of the week. This class is gonna either be on Tuesday or Wednesday, okay? And then we have the Friday again on the Gita, on meditation. I will let you know in our group, okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okie dokie.
Brilliant, Alindo. Thank you.
Namaste.
Many thanks.
Bye bye, Lynn. My pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Bye.